Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal International. We begin with our top stories. Internationally acclaimed tech guru Rebecca Enong-Chong has been set free after spending 3 nights in the gendarmerie at the Gendarmerie Legion in Douala. A verbal arrest was ordered by a procureur who accused her of contempt of court in a certain family case that involved the family of Madame Enong-Chong. And Cameroon on the alert after detection of Delta strains of COVID-19. Prime Minister Joseph Diongute in an interministerial committee this Thursday in Yaoundé announced stringent measures involving controls and intensification of vaccinations across the country. And more dead pigs have been detected and burns in Kongsamba by officials of the Ministry of Livestock and Animal Industry, Minepia. Those were major stories and details right ahead. Internationally acclaimed tech guru Rebecca Enong-Chong has finally been set free. She was set free some hours ago at the court of first instance here in the city of Douala. Just to let you know that she has spent 3 nights at the Gendarmerie Legion in Douala. Her verbal that involved the family of Madame Enong-Chong. Her arrest triggered widespread condemnations and online campaigns calling for her arrest. She took to Twitter some few minutes back saying she's now free and all charges have been dropped against her. Calls for her release intensified after she spent 3 consecutive days in detention. So we'll come back to that in subsequent editions of the news. Cameroon is on the alert after detection of Delta strains of COVID-19. The 14 Delta variant cases detected at the Central Pasteur has approached the government to take stringent measures. Cameroon Prime Minister Joseph Diongute is in an interministerial committee this Thursday announced the intensification of vaccination and strengthening controls across Cameroon. Let's now listen to an excerpt or reaction from the Minister of Public Health.
We are going to intensify the vaccinations. Up to now, I think we have to elaborate a new strategical communication and sensitization of our compatriots, and the government is ready to do it right now. The adhesion of the people is right now perceptible. So we are going to do other campaign to organize the campaign again in September, in October and November in order to have more persons vaccinated in our country. We have to acquire other doses of vaccine in Cameroon. But now we have sufficient vaccine to do our campaign. In a few months, is to reinforce this measure, to do a PCR test, to do a TDR test, and to show the vaccine, the vaccination card.
More dead pigs have been intercepted and burned in Kongsamba in the Mongo division by officials of the Ministry of Livestock, Fisheries and Animal Industries. The dead pigs left Buda and were on their way to Douala before they were being detected. The details with Regina Leketandak.
It was here at the Ngwa Mixed Control Post, a few kilometers from Kongsamba, that a bag containing dead pigs from Buddha and Road to Douala was uncovered by officials of the Ministry of Fisheries, Livestock and Animal Industry, Minipia. A bag containing 3 dead pigs was found in my vehicle. The bag was put in my car by my assistants, who claimed it was just an ordinary parcel heading to Douala. That's how I transported the bag without knowing, and when I arrived in Kongsamba, the bag was detected. Once intercepted, the pigs were thrown into a grave and set ablaze by officials of Minipia. Since the outbreak of a swine fever in the west region of Cameroon, the governor of the region has warned against the consumption, commercialization, and transportation of dead pigs. Warnings that seem to have fallen on deaf ears as dealers have continued to smuggle dead pigs from one town to the other for human consumption with potentially devastating health consequences.
The 19th edition of the Health Free Holidays campaign has been officially launched in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. The close to 608 educators, educators have 19 days to change their attitudes of their mates as concerns HIV and AIDS and COVID-19 are concerned in Cameroon. Focus this year is on digital communication, as we hear in this report with Beatrice Ngamu.
The mass awareness activities among young people, by young people, popularly known as AIDS-Free Holiday Campaign, has been launched in Yaoundé. The prayer educators have 19 days to convince at least 700,000 youths aged 15 to 24 to change their attitudes by raising awareness and reducing HIV/AIDS, STIs, infection risk.
The message of hope, courage, perseverance, never give up. We should carry on fighting against both pandemics.
The prevalence rate high among young people. Seropositivity rates men at 0.7% and women at 1.8%. This against the national prevalence rate that stands at 2.7%. The COVID-19 pandemic is an additional challenge to face with bravery.
For the past 2 years now, we have an additional fight, the fight against coronavirus. Our determination is still very, very strong, and we are very optimistic that the victory is awaiting us.
Particular emphasis this year is on digital communication, transforming target messages into simple and convincing messages in the words and manner they best understand via the social media.
Create WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, so that we could sensitize majority of the youths. We have to protect ourselves, respect the barrier measures.
Youths with disabilities also know how to...
And I will counsel them, advise them about the evils of AIDS and how they can do to prevent it.
This initiative, started by Cameroon's First Lady Chantal Biya some 19 years ago through the African Synergy Against AIDS and Suffering, is to contribute to the eradication of HIV/AIDS in the country, a public health threat. The Minister of Youth Affairs and Civic Education, Mununa Futso, launched the activities this day under the theme HIV or COVID-19, you can protect yourself, stay alive.
The National Gendarmerie has called on transporters to take considerations on the deplorable state of the road, reduce speed and be more vigilant while driving on such bad spots or road users. The security agency must be extra careful, produce 0 accidents during this long vacation, as we hear in the following story with Beatrice Ngamu.
Road accidents continue to claim lives on our major roads on daily basis, with the latest that sent over 40 persons into their early graves within 48 hours in the central region. With barely 3 weeks to back to school, the National Gendarmerie are multiplying strategies to ensure children successfully travel back from holidays to their respective regions. In a consultation meeting with the different transport syndicate leaders this August 13 in Yaoundé, it is time to review certain death traps on the national roads.
We intend to look at the different sectors of the roads which are usually producing road accidents, and we are calling on these presidents of the syndicates to be able to transmit the message that we're going to have from here, in order to reduce the road accidents that we have on our roads.
The road control elements equally challenge all road users to show cognizance of the fact that most of the Cameroonian roads are not in good state. Thus, all must exercise extra care to save lives.
We want to let all the road users, not only those that are involved in public transport, but also whosoever is going to ply our roads, to be conscious of the fact that certain areas on our roads are not the best, so they should reduce and roll at a moderate speed so that we are not going to have accidents throughout this period.
Their consultation comes 3 days after the Cameroon Minister of Transport, Ernest Ngale Bibehe, dished out serious warnings to transporters who continue to operate in illegality to regulate their situation and abstain from reckless driving or face heavy sanctions from the states.
Female notables in Gandhara, India, Damawa region have been assessing their actions in the fight against neonatal infant-child mortality in order to identify loopholes that need to push their actions positively. The women are bent on changing the mindset of women, as we hear in this story with Gladys Ambo Ziba.
To put smiles on faces of the less privileged, the mayor of
these women are being sensitized on the dangers of giving birth to their babies at home. The trainers are female notables who 3 years ago were trained specifically for the purpose of supporting government within the framework of the National Multi-Sectoral Program for the fight against neonatal infant-child mortality. Despite the continuous sensitization, results have remained below expectations, and this has been blamed on COVID-19. Many women here don't go for antenatal and only go to hospital when they are about to put to birth. Others even deliver their babies at home and sometimes die in the process. These female notables are therefore assessing their actions and identifying loopholes in this capacity-building workshop. We have regular field work. Ever since we were trained, we have impacted women in their local associations. Female notables have brought in innovations in the strategic program. We have reinforced capacities of women in health, family affairs, and youth competency. These actions aimed at helping women in the Adamawa region change their mindset and believe in hospital care to reduce neonatal infant-child mortality is an initiative of the Ministries of Public Health, Women's Empowerment and the Family, and Social Affairs.
Some newly appointed members of Elections Cameroon Elecam have been challenged to improve performance of the elections organizing body, especially fast-track the implementation of new technological mechanisms. These are some reorganization of some departments take effect. Haisencha reports.
Elections Cameroon Elecam, in a drive to strengthen their electoral mechanisms, the newly appointed or promoted personnel challenged to improve performance with the electoral cycle of 2023 and 2025 at the corner, installing the directors and sub-directors this Thursday in Yaoundé. The Director General of Elections, Eric Essosi, says the reorganization was necessary to meet the demands of new technologies.
I think that we have proceed to reorganization of our institution so that to modernize our structures and to adapt them for the new management of modern times.
Some departments given special considerations in this restructuring process.
Particularly, we have reorganized the division of biometric and informatics so that to improve the registration of the electors, and also we organize the direction of finance to put two directions, one of finance and one of human resources, so that we improve our capacity of working and implement our missions.
The challenges are enormous, but the newly installed express readiness to produce satisfactory results.
Les principaux défis sont déjà de finaliser.
The major challenge is to finalize the electoral list with deadline on August 31st and the upcoming edition, notably 2023 to 2025, is already knocking at the door. So we have to get to work immediately.
Authorities of Elections Cameroon equally insist that the capacities of the entire personnel will continue to be improved upon on daily basis to ensure proper handling of the upcoming electoral processes.
Thanks so much for watching. We are so grateful, but don't go away. We'll have other programs coming up. We have the news in the French language at exactly 19h50. For me, we'll see you again on Monday. Good night.